Good morning, students. I am Vikram Singh Rathod, Assistant Professor at Center for E-Governance. Today I am representing the Python Pandas panel. In our previous lecture, I am defining the Pandas data frame using Python, and today I am represent the panel. And what is the panel? So we can describe in this e-lecture. While not a major topic of this e-lecture, Pandas has a panel data structure. A panel is basically a data structure which you can think of as a three-dimensional analogy of data frame. Much of the development focus of Pandas has been in tabular data manipulations, as these are easier to reason about the hierarchical indexing, making using truly and number of dimensional array unnecessary in a lot of cases. So we can say that the Pandas provide a specific functions to create the panels to describe the data in a various dimensional angles. So we can use the panels in the Python using the Pandas library. To create a panel, you can use a dictionary data type or data structure of data frame object of a three-dimensional ND array. A panel is a 3D container of the data. It means a panel is defined as a x coordinator, y coordinator and z coordinator. So we can call it the 3D container of a data. The term panel data is derived from the econometrics, and it's partially responsible for the name Pandas panel data. It means basically the tool, the panel is used to calculate the number of data those is stored in the tabular format in Excel or Tabulia or any other data type CSV files. So we can manipulate the data for manipulation or various type of operations. We can use the Pandas panel. The names for the three axes are instead to give some semantic meanings to the describing operation involved panel data. In Pandas panel, following parameters are used. You can notice that number first is the items, and the number second is major axis, and the third one is minor axis. Then I am describe first items as a 0 axis, and each item corresponding to a data frame contained inside. So it is represents the item. And then after major axis is used to access 1, it is the index to define the row of each of the data frame. So we can say that the major axis is used to define the row values in panel. And then after the minor axis, this is define the axis number 2. It is basically used to define the column values of the data frames in a panel. So as per our previous definition, the three-dimensional conditions are used in the panel. Number first is items, number second is major axis, and number third is minor axis. So first of all, we can use the pandas.panel method. Pandas a library and panel is a function or a method of the pandas library. And I am defining a concise definition of the panel is giving here. A panel can be created using the following constructor: pandas.panel, and then put the data, items, major axis, minor axis, data type and copy as the parameters used in the panel to describe the pandas library. The parameters of the constructors are use the following functions. So I am describe a table here. The table column name is one column name is a parameter and second is the description. The each of the arguments or parameters those used in a panel are described one by one in this slide. So first of all I am describing the data. The data take various forms like ND array, series, map, list, dictionary, constants and also another data frames. So data can be defined in the various type of forms. You can notice here it may be a array, a series, a map, a list, a dictionary or a constant or another data type data frame. And the item is belongs to the axis 0 and the major axis is belongs as a axis 1 and the minor axis is belongs to axis 2 and data type is the type of the data in a column or a row. And the copy data is the default value or its may be false value. I am giving a example how to create the panel. So I am describing create panel. A panel can be created using multiple ways like from ND arrays, from dictionary of data frames, from 3D ND arrays. So first of all I am giving a comment or writing the code to create the panel. So creating a empty panel, first of all we create the empty panel. So I am writing here import pandas as a PD and import numpy as a NP. I am calling here pandas for the panel and the numpy for the numerical calculations and the alias name is defined as PD and NP. And then after I am creating a variable data is equal to np dot random dot rand 2 4 5. It means it create the number of series using the numpy method, random and rand methods for creating step, stop as a arguments 2 4 5 and then after I am writing a variable p is equal to pd dot panel and put the data into in as a argument and then after I am show the its output. So I write the print p and then execute the code. After executing the code you can notice that the output is giving in the slide. It's describe the class pandas core dot panel dot panel and dimension also describe as a item into 2 items into 4 major axes into 5 minor axes. Item axis is 0 to 1, major axis is 0 to 3 and the minor axis is 0 to 5. You can notice that the one number is the first number of the index is creating in the panel is 0 to first number is defined as a 0. So you can notice that the maximum number of item is 2 and then after executing the program it creates the 2 axis 0 to 1 and then after the major axis is defined as a 4. So it creates 0 to 3 and the minor axis is defined as a 5. So it's create to 0 to 4. Observe that the dimension of the empty panel and the above panel all the objects are different. From dictionary of data frame objects is another example for the panel to creating an empty panel. So import pandas and import numpy and then you can notice that here I am defining the data as a dictionary data type. So I write the variable data and defining defining the attributes as a item 1 colon pd dot data frame np dot random dot rand n 4,3 and item 2 pd dot data frame np dot random dot rand n 4,2 and then close the dictionary and then write p is equal to pd dot panel and then put the data and then print the p for the panel. You can notice that the output is, after executing, you notice here item 1 and to item 2. The major axis is 0 to 3 and the minor axis is 0 to 2. For your convenience, I am defining the coding. You can notice the code and run as per your environment. You can use in your computer Anaconda, Spider, or write the code as per defining in the slide. Then I am giving another example for creating an empty panel. An empty panel can be created using the panel constructor as follows. Creating an empty panel, import pandas as a pd and p barabar pd dot panel method, then print p, then after execution the output is class pandas dot core dot panel and the dimension 0 axis and into 0 major axis into 0 minor axis and the values is none, item axis is none, major axis is none and the minor axis is none. Selecting the data from panel is our another example. To select the data from the panel using item, major axis and minor axis. Using item, creating a empty panel. So first of all you define the import pandas as a pd and import numpy as a np and then create a dictionary type data structure and store it into a data variable. So the key attribute is item 1 and item 2 and the value is defined as a pd dot data frame np dot random dot rand n and put the argument 4,3 and item 2 colon pd dot data frame np dot random dot rand n 4,2 and then after p is equal to pd dot panel and put the data and then print p item 1. You can notice that I am only get the values of the item 1 value from the dictionary. You can notice that the after execution the memory location is giving by the output. You can notice that here we have two items and we retrieve item 1. The result is data frame with 4 rows and 3 columns which are the major axis and the minor axis dimension using major axis. For your convenience, I am defining the program code. In the environment, I am using Anaconda and Spider. Then after writing the code, you can easily see the slide and you can also write the code and execute the code. For your convenience, you can use a Jupyter, a Visual Studio Code or a Spider as per your requirement or your choice. You can run the program and create the panel in Pandas library. Then after I am giving another example, data can be accessed using the method panel dot measure axis and put the argument as a index. So I am giving a comment here, creating a empty panel, then call the two libraries pandas and numpy. Then data structure is defined in the term of dictionary item 1 and item 2 pd dot data frame np dot random dot rand in 4,3 item 2 pd dot data frame np dot random dot rand n 4,2 2, and the p is equal to pd dot panel, and then put the data as a argument or a value or a parameter, and then print p dot measure underscore x and 1, and the output is, you can see that the item 1 and item 2, you notice that the 0 1 2 is the index number, and item 1 values is, you can show in the slide, and the item 2 is uh, defining the two values, because there is the last value is as a nan, because I am defining the np.random.rand 4 2 using. Then I am giving another example using minor access. Data can be accessed using the method panel.minor access index to create an empty panel, import pandas, import numpy, and then create the data structure as a dictionary data type item 1 pd.dataframe np.random.randan, and then put the argument 4 3, and item 2 is a key value of the dictionary, and put the colon and write pd.dataframe and np.random randan, and put the argument 4 2, and then create a variable p is equal to pd.panel, and put the data as a dictionary data structure into the panel, and then print. You can notice that print p dot minor underscore access 1. Then you can notice after the execution the program, you can notice the output is given in the slide. Observe that the changes in the dimension you can easily notice here. And for your convenience, I am also giving you executions of the above program in the Anaconda environment using Spider tool. You can easily access the program and write the programs as per your convenience in Jupyter, Spider, or Visual Source code that is provided by the Anaconda environment. Thanks, students. Our official YouTube channel is having multiple subjects of e-lectures such as electrical, mechanical, automobile, computer science. In the computer science, basically subdivided into Java, C, Android, and the web development, AWS, Python, ML, etc., computer network, and operating systems. Those you can easily see the lectures or understood the concept behind it. Thanks, students.